joke, Mr. Higgins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Finally. I just want to thank the panel. I think this has been a very productive discussion, one in which I have learned quite a bit from. In the aftermath of 9/11, you know, we were all taught that we are not at war as a nation with Islam. We were at war with those who hijacked that religion and used it to justify their murderous and cowardly acts. From that, a lot of relationships were developed between the law enforcement community, local, state, and federal, with the Muslim community to try to better understand one another. I think we're at a point where progress has been made, but still much work needs to be done. And when I look at or hear the sheriff from Los Angeles talk about the programs that have been developed in your community, it's very similar to that of my community in Buffalo, New York. A smaller city directly south of Buffalo is a city called Lackawanna, an old steel city that was home to the Lackawanna Six. It was 6 Muslim American men who were convicted of providing material support to al-Qaeda by training in their camps in Kandahar, Afghanistan. Efforts are being made in our community now. They were very young. Efforts are being made to de-radicalize, to counter-radicalize, and that should be, I think, the focus of what it is we're doing in promotion of movement forward in that direction as well. You know, there's a lot of misunderstanding when you get into this issue, and people, I think, get invested into their emotional positions that really don't have a factual base. I'll give you an example. In this nation, we have not only a Christian Judeo tradition, we have a Christian Judeo-Islamic tradition in this nation. At the basis of those religions are compassion, forgiveness, love, and tolerance. The Prophet Muhammad is the prophet of mercy. In my Catholic tradition, I was raised by the Sisters of Mercy. So I think we all have a lot to learn from one another about this issue. We have a long way to go. The radicalization of Muslims in America is in large part influenced by the convergence of new technology that allows groups to communicate in ways that they never were able to before. Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula has a publication called Inspire. They are trying to influence throughout the world, unlike they've ever been able to do before since their inception. These present extraordinary challenges. So I think that provides a basis from which our nation, all our law enforcement agencies in each individual state, in each individual locality, develop those relationships with the Muslim American community. Because in the end, we are all Americans. And people don't come to this country, by and large, to create havoc. They come here because they thirst for the freedom that we have, and that's what they want for themselves and their families. So, Sheriff, if you want to just elaborate a little bit further on some of the programs that you've been working on, and be very interested in that.
Well, I'll share with you, thank you, Mr. Congressman. I'll share with you what the Muslims themselves in Los Angeles are interested in, and this is part of the relationship building. They're interested, and we've given them programs on domestic violence. We've given them programs on gang activities and awareness. Youth and teens driving education, the terrorism issue, obviously, narcotics education and awareness, and identity theft avoidance and awareness. And so I was intently listening to your overview, which I wholeheartedly agree with. When you think about it, most Americans don't think on a daily basis like we do here. You know, we're obligated to think on a very high level of concern and sophistication, and we can disagree all we want. But the truth is that the average American should be able to go about their business on a daily basis and not have to worry about this, because that's what they're paying us to do. So in the context of your question, what I think is the bigger problem is that most Muslims don't even know what the Quran's all about. This is my assertion. When I go around and I start talking to people, since I've been given a Quran, I've been obligated to read it. And there's references to Mary, the mother of Jesus, in the Quran. There's references to Moses and Judaism. And according to the widespread belief of scholars of Islam, that you cannot be a Muslim unless you honor Judaism and Christianity. You cannot exclude those two faiths from the internal composition of what the Prophet was saying when this whole Quran became what it is. That, I think, is my biggest advice to the Muslim community in America, and it says get smarter on your own faith. Praying 5 times a day is a ritual that is important, but it is not Islam. It is the ability to have a sense of tolerance for Judaism, Christianity, and all faiths of the world. That's the message that I think is not being heard by the American public.
Time to jump. Time to jump.